I have a question for you. Have you ever woken up feeling like you're suffocating under the weight of being everything to everybody and then drowning in guilt for daring to even think about your own needs? Well, that was me. One day I just snapped. I thought, why do I feel guilty for wanting someone, just once, to care as much about me as I care about them? Why do I feel like I have to earn the right to be treated well? Whew, that moment kicked off a long, messy, painful journey to uncover the answers. And what I found might surprise you. So many of us get stuck in toxic relationships, in unfulfilling jobs, and the exhausting cycle of people pleasing. We don't even realize what's happening, to be honest with you, until we're buried under resentment and guilt. But here's the thing, these patterns didn't come out of nowhere. They are deeply rooted in the beliefs that we learned in childhood. So today we're going to walk through why we feel this way, how these patterns start in the first place, and probably most importantly, how we can break free and reclaim our power. So let's start with the root of it all, childhood. Our earliest relationships shape how we see ourselves and how we interact with the world around us. If you grew up with emotionally unavailable parents, or in an environment where love felt conditional, or both, you probably learned that your worth depends on pleasing others. Does that sound familiar? It did to me. For me, my story started young. My parents were teenagers when they had me, literally playing house, but in real life, with a real life baby. That left them pretty ill equipped to handle the responsibilities of parenting. Heck, they weren't even adults. I quickly became the family peacekeeper, the little helper who smoothed things over. And when my siblings came along, I naturally extended that role to them. By the time I was a teenager, I had perfected the art of putting everyone else first. I was the perfect good girl. Here are some common patterns that are found from childhood that set us up for lifelong people pleasing. Emotionally unavailable parents. You suppress your needs to gain approval from them. Criticism or perfectionism. You feel like nothing you do is ever good enough. In fact, you probably are told that sometimes. Parentification. You take on adult responsibilities way too early. And exposure to toxic dynamics. Abuse or control feels normal, so you keep repeating it because it's your normal. It's no wonder these experiences follow us into adulthood, shaping how we see ourselves and unfortunately how we allow others to treat us. Okay, but how exactly does this show up in our grown-up lives? I mean, after all, we are adults, so we make our own choices, right? Kind of. Let me know if any of this sounds familiar to you. You say yes when you really want to say no, and then resent it afterwards. You avoid conflict at all costs. You feel like your own needs are not as important as everyone else's, and then you feel guilty for wanting to assert your needs or having them met. And somehow you keep ending up in toxic relationships or in draining work environments, even though you know better. Hell, that was my reality for decades. And I hated admitting that my childhood had anything to do with it. I didn't want to be one of those people, the ones that are blaming mommy and daddy for all my adult choices. But the truth, psychology does tell us that those early patterns, well, those honeys run really deep. Bliss right now, like I was, I need you to hear this. It is not too late. Breaking free is not easy. I'm not going to kid you, but it is 100% possible. So here are 7 steps that helped me, and I know that they can help you too. Step 1, acknowledge the patterns. Write down recurring themes in your relationships or jobs. Reflect on how these patterns might connect to your past. Where did they begin? Step 2, understand your inner child. Really visualize your younger self and offer them the love they didn't get. Try journaling or guided meditations focused on inner child healing. They can help. Step 3, challenge limiting beliefs. Identify thoughts like, I have to earn love by being useful, and replace those with affirmations like, my needs are valid and important too. Step 4, and this is a tricky one, trust me when I tell you, you need to learn to set boundaries. Practice saying no without over-explaining. God, and don't apologize for things that aren't your fault. Start small and build up your confidence, and you will have to start small. A lifetime of not having boundaries make them really hard to set. And the people that you're going to be setting them with, they're not going to want them either. Just an FYI. Step 5, rebuild your self worth. Celebrate your wins, big and small. Surround yourself with people who uplift and affirm you, your own personal cheerleading section. Step 6, seek professional help. This one can also be hard for those of us who are so used to taking care of everyone else. We don't want to admit that we are not omnipotent, that we can't do it all. You're not Superman or Superwoman. Therapy can be life-changing. A skilled therapist, a really skilled therapist, can help you untangle deep-seated patterns that you can't see yourself. What is that? You can't see the forest for the trees? Yeah, sometimes it's true of yourself too. And they can help you to build healthier coping mechanisms. Step 7, and the final step, is commit to your growth. Healing is not a straight path. You didn't get here overnight, so you're not going to get there on the other side of this overnight either. Keep learning, practicing mindfulness, and pursuing what lights you up, and eventually you're going to turn around and not even recognize the person that you used to be. And that's what we're all going for here. Listen, breaking free from toxic patterns is a radical act of self-love. You are not defined by your past. You are not too far gone. Every small step you take, whether it is saying no, walking away from mistreatment, or setting a boundary, is one step closer to the life that you deserve. And remember this, you are worthy, not because of what you do for others, but simply because you exist. Start today. Your future self is waiting for you. If any of this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share this with someone who might need to hear it. Let's heal and grow together. You've got this. We all do.